Ansari. Borninski.
Good evening.
Slavens.
Good evening.
Graham Hudak.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect that Clerk Segrist is in attendance and also indicates that it's a good evening and wishes everybody all a good evening as well. Foster
Good evening.
and Ganguly.
Good evening.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion to adopt the agenda with revisions to the attachments of G2 and G3 on the general calendar? The attachments in the packet were doubled, so they fixed them.
Oh, but, okay, so the agenda, Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by, thank you, Treasurer Slavens. I was saying I'm getting different sounds here now with Stephen gone. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, we don't have any presentations, recognitions, or formal resolutions. Let me pull up the. All right, can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Madam Supervisor, I motion that we pay the bills. Support.
Motion made by Treasurer Slavens, supported by Trustee Borninski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Wait.
Motion passes. I know I did. Now can I have a motion to approve the minutes from November 26? Yeah, I did this before this.
Boards and commission.
Oh, are there any boards and commissions reports? Oh, I didn't see them. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Does our YAC team would you like to make any report?
Yeah, so we had a few questions regarding the RBAs. So for number 5, our question is, what is the purpose of a minimum lot area and lot width?
I'm sorry, could you get closer? What'd you say?
Oh, we had a few questions regarding the RBAs. So our first question is for RBA number 5, which is, what is the purpose of a minimum lot area and lot width?
For RBA number 7, they said, I think it is very well planned that the bikes will revive in the New Year's resolution. And for RBA number 6, how often would these lights be used?
And then we had one more for RBA number 8, and it's just a comment that I believe this is very beneficial to the residents of Canton. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you introduce yourselves, please?
Yeah, my name is Neha.
And my name is Rohan.
Thank you. Okay, can we have public comment now on agenda items only? If you have agenda item public comment, please come to the podium. Please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Charles Hudson. I live at 2022 Elmhurst Street. I am here for the non-conforming lots, the amendment to the ordinance. I've been working with Patrick since like May. My family, just to go back a little bit, has lived in Canton a couple hundred years. And since that time, like Canton has built up around us, and my mother's had stayed, and we just couldn't get her to leave Canton. So she unfortunately recently passed away, and she had 2 properties on each side of the street on Elmhurst, and in the subdivision, they were building houses on the lots there. Single houses on each lot. Well, we've been paying like 5 separate taxes on the 2 properties. But there's 5 lots. But just before we were to sell, we found out that there was an ordinance saying that if your house ran across 2 lots, that you couldn't sell them as single lots. So that's why I'm here, to try to get it amended. The houses are very old, and either way, they would have had to been torn down. And so I'm hoping that we can put it through to build on the separate lots for the amendment. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anything, but that is basically why I'm here, and that's my situation anyways. Like I say, they've done it on both sides of me, built these newer houses, and it's the same developer. But like I say, it's just because my houses go over the separate lots that there needs to be an amendment to the ordinance. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room for public comment on agenda items only? Okay, any of the attendees online have public comment for the agenda items only? You can raise your hand electronically. Seeing none. All right, thank you. Public comment on agenda items is closed for now. And now we'll go to a motion to approve the minutes from November 26th.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Did anyone have any other committee report outs they wanted to do on committees that they sit on? Just give an update. Okay, all right. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the consent calendar as presented. Item C1, consider approval of an extension of the contract with ARC Document Solutions for continuous scanning of the Building and Inspection Services Division documents. C2, consider approving an increase to the blanket purchase order issued to Priority 1 Emergency. C3, consider approval of 2024 budget adjustments. C4, request authorization to pay bills in 2025 when no regular board meeting is scheduled. C5, consider awarding a contract and purchase order to replace the exterior windows at Fire Station Number 1. C6, consider request to increase blanket purchase order for PSD IT Systems Technical Support. C7, consider request to increase and decrease blanket purchase orders for police uniforms. And finally, C8, consider 2025 meeting dates for the Commission for Culture, Arts, and Heritage.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Move on to the general calendar. Item G1, consider award of CDBG housing rehabilitation contract. And the YAC team, if I missed something, an item where you had a question, just let us know also, okay?
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a housing rehabilitation contract to Optimum Contracting in the amount of $25,000 and to reimburse all of the permit fees once the work has been completed and approved by the building department.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Under Canton's Affordable Housing Program, federal dollars are used to pay for major and minor repairs to owner-occupied single-family homes in Canton. The participating families must meet HUD income requirements. Formal bid procedures were followed, and the public bid opening was held on November 14, 2024, for the CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Program. 5 bids were received. We are requesting to approve a contract for a HUD CDBG-funded home rehabilitation project that exceeds the $10,000 purchasing threshold. Director Trumbull, do you want to add to that?
Excuse me, I have nothing to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Nay. Motion passes. Item C2, consider site plan for Market Street Industrial Development.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the resolution that approves planning application number 003-SPI-5527 as presented.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. The applicant proposes to construct 4 industrial buildings on the north end of Market Street, which is a private industrial subdivision street located north of Coppernick Road and west of North Haggerty Road. 2 buildings on the west side of Market Street will be over 19,000 square feet each, and 2 buildings to the east side of Market Street will be over 32,000 square feet each. The project includes extending Market Street northward to the northern property line and stubbing it for a future access to the parcel to the north. At its meeting on November 18, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan subject to conditions. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add, but Committee Planner Patrick Sloan is also here to answer any questions you might have.
Patrick, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add beyond what was in our report, but happy to answer any questions.
Trustee Foster, do you want to add anything from the meeting?
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Anything you want clarification on, or? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G3, consider site plan for Prospect Hill Industrial Park.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the resolution that approves planning application number 136-SPI-7624 as presented.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Let me see. The applicant proposes to construct 2 multi-tenant industrial buildings on 3 parcels at 5505 through 5781 South Sheldon Road, which are located on the east side of South Sheldon Road between Michigan Ave and Yost Road. 1 building will be 56,000 square feet, and 1 building will be 14,400 square feet. Additionally, there is an existing 5,505 square foot office building that will continue to be used. At its meeting on November 18, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan subject to conditions. Director Norwood, do you want to add to that?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add to that. However, as you know, Committee Planner Patrick Sloan is here, also here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Patrick.
Nothing else to add to this one.
Thank you, Trustee Foster.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Any questions from the board? All right, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G4, consider site plan for Singh Executive Park Building, number 9.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve the resolution approving planning application number 138-SPI-8300 as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Ganguly. Sorry, just pulled this up. Pulled up the wrong one. There we go. The applicant proposes to construct a 100,847 square foot industrial building in Singh Executive Park, which is an industrial condominium development located on the north side of Michigan Avenue between Morton Taylor Road and Lily Road. The specific uses of the industrial building or future users are currently unknown. At its meeting on November 18, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan subject to conditions. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't really have anything, but I may be speaking on behalf of Director Lefevre. This is showing some demand for Canton for these new buildings, so we're pretty excited about that. Also, the Community Planner, Patrick Sloan, is here to answer any questions.
Thanks, Director LaFever. Do you want to add anything?
No, just as Director Norwood said, we're seeing a huge demand and outreach. Fortunately for Canton, there are not a lot of available spaces, so we're fairly confident that once this facility is constructed, it won't take long for them to fill it, and they probably have somebody in mind already, so.
Great, thank you. Patrick?
Nothing else to add.
Trustee Foster?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you. And our YAC team, was there a question on this one from you on number 4? No? Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions from the board? Tanya?
I just had one question. I saw that, they talked about using the available current detention area for this building. So does that have the capacity, or is there a plan to expand it? Do we know?
The pond was originally designed with the intent of carrying the capacity for the entire industrial park. But because of the size of the development, Wayne County review will be required. And Wayne County will determine if the current pond meets the county's requirement. If it does, it will be a straightforward process. If it doesn't, then there may be some either expansion of the pond, or there may be some underground stormwater detention added to fit the development.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, G5, consider first reading of amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances for non-conforming lots.
Madam Supervisor, I move to introduce and hold a first reading of the proposed amendments to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances of Charter Township of Canton as provided in the attached ordinance, which amends Section 3.05, nonconforming lots of record.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brunensky. The proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance for nonconforming lots of record include allowing 2 or more contiguous nonconforming lots in single ownership to be sold or used separately under certain conditions and subject to Planning Commission approval. The conditions proposed in the ordinance amendment include the lots being platted, connection to utilities, frontage on an improved road, and of sufficient area and width for a principal building to comply with all setback requirements of the zoning district. At its meeting on November 18, 2024, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance and adopted a motion to recommend approval. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything, including what we heard during public comment?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Supervisor. As you know, this came up to the Planning Division to work on, because this has been an issue that we want to get taken care of. So we can allow, this is not just particular this gentleman's place here, but there's other places in the township that we like to address with this. And I know that the Youth Affairs Council has some good questions about it. Those are kind of good zoning 101 kind of questions about purpose of a minimum lot area and lot width. And I don't know, Patrick, I don't know if you want to take a shot at that. I'm going to throw it over to him if the board will allow me.
Sure, thank you. To address the question of minimum lot areas, on our zoning map, we have a series of different zoning districts. And some of them range from a minimum lot area of 5 acres, which are generally seen in the western parts of the township in some of the more rural areas. And we have districts that are minimum lot size of 2 acre and 1 acre, all the way down to single-family minimum lot sizes of 8,400 square feet, which is about 1/5 of an acre. So at that density, roughly 5 units per acre. And we have that as part of our zoning ordinance and our zoning map to control density and to make density predictable where development's happening. So when we adopt our zoning map, which is based on our master plan future land use map, we not only plan for certain levels of density throughout the community, but then that allows us to make other decisions in terms of infrastructure to serve that density, whether it's water, sewer, roads, et cetera, as well as ancillary facilities like commercial facilities, industrial facilities, and institutional facilities. So a lot of times residential density is tied to all the other planning elements that we look at in terms of land use, transportation, and the environment. For this particular zoning ordinance amendment, there are many areas of the community that are in plats, and many of these plats were created and approved before Canton even had an ordinance. So before Canton had a zoning ordinance, a lot of these plats predate our ordinance. And so what happens is that if there's a lot that is less than the minimum lot size in a district, and it was created before the zoning ordinance, once the zoning ordinance is adopted, that lot becomes what's called non-conforming, which makes it a lawful lot, but there are some restrictions. And one of the restrictions is that if there are two or more adjacent non-conforming lots that are owned by a single entity or a single owner, then the zoning ordinance prohibits selling or transferring or developing those lots separately. And that's one way to control density. That's one way to get density to where the master plan and the zoning ordinance want it to be. However, in some cases, such as on Elmhurst and on some other areas of the community, there are cases where there's a home built across 3 lots, and those lot lines go straight through the house. There are other cases where somebody may have their house on one lot, but they may have some adjacent lots that they may not meet the minimum lot size, but it may make sense from an ordinance standpoint to allow future development on them, which would make the specific areas more dense than what the zoning ordinance allows for. But some of the advantages that it also creates is that these lots, when they were platted and they have adjacent development, most of them have frontage. They have access to utilities, water, and if they can meet the setbacks, they're otherwise buildable. So there are a lot of advantages that some of these older platted lots present in terms of being able to put infill housing in areas where there's existing infrastructure. So when we looked at the residents' comments and questions several months ago in terms of that specific case, we also looked township-wide in terms of what could we do to try to promote a little bit more infill, maybe expand availability of single-family housing in the community. And we came up with a proposed amendment in consultation with our legal counsel because there are some state acts that apply to non-conforming lots and plats. So it took us a few months to go through the amendment process and a few planning commission meetings and staff meetings to do that. But we came to a place where it would allow for non-conforming lots to be built and they could be separated even if they're in single ownership. But the planning commission would have review authority over that, so they could review each one on a case-by-case basis to make sure that the standards of the ordinance were achieved. So that's kind of a long summary of everything, and I'll be happy to take any other questions.
Okay, our YAC team, you had some questions on this, correct? Number 5.
Yeah, we had a question on this one. For this one, we asked, what is the purpose of a minimum lot
Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, and the purpose of the minimum lot area is to control density so that depending on if we had a minimum lot size of say 1 unit per acre, we could look at a square mile or a part of the community and we could predict how many units would be in that part of the community. And so by having a predictable density there, we could look at our future public services, utilities, water and sewer, and roads. In areas where we want it more dense, we could lower that minimum lot area. So a lot of times it's to control density to make it predictable and for the purpose of future planning and future public services. In terms of minimum lot width, that's a similar way to control density. Oftentimes, minimum lot width is to make sure that there's a lot that's wide enough to fit a conforming building and that there's not too many narrow lots in a small amount of area. So the minimum lot width and the minimum lot area tend to go hand in hand in terms of controlling density and having it be predictable.
Is that all that the YAC team had on board questions? So could you let us know, just to clarify, what the gentleman brought up about Elmhurst? Now, what can we do there? You had said, go ahead.
Sure. So in that case, one of the series of lots is where there's one home, and it's a wide home built several decades ago, and it spans across 3 lots. And several years ago, when there would be cases like that, a lot of times what somebody would do is combine all 3 and make one parcel. In this particular case, there's 3 parcels there. So you may have one house, but you get 3 tax bills because there's one bill per parcel. And so what this would allow for is if the zoning ordinance amendment is approved, the resident could make an application to the planning commission to be able to not only demolish the house, but to sell those 3 lots separately and allow for 3 houses to be built on those 3 lots. Currently, the way that the ordinance is written, the combination of all 3 lots is either less than the minimum lot area or just at the minimum lot area, meaning that the owner is not able to sell or transfer any of those 3 lots separately, not unless he were to obtain a variance, which would be very rare because there's not really a practical difficulty in this case. So what the zoning ordinance amendment would allow for is that with those 3 parcels that exist, if the resident chose to sell them separately, he could do that. And instead of having one house that's older, there could potentially be 3 houses there. So that does increase the density, and it's something that we're sensitive to. But in that particular area on Elmhurst, there are many lots of the same size, small size, and at the same time, homes that can be built on the lot that meet all the setback requirements. And along Elmhurst, there's also water and sewer lines. So in terms of public infrastructure, it's set up for additional infill development.
Kate?
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. But I am wondering, just so residents know, can they also combine the 3 lots if they wanted to, or the however many lots?
Yes, they can. And the current zoning ordinance text and the text that's currently in our zoning ordinance is very similar to most municipal ordinances where it restricts development on 2 or more contiguous non-conforming lots. And the reason for that provision is to lower density and to make density as close to the zoning district and master plan as possible. And so over the years, not just in Canton, but in other communities, lots have been combined to meet that minimum lot area. And the text allows for somewhat of a reverse, not necessarily to split lots, but to use existing lots and able to build on more of them than just having to keep them collected in one entity.
Okay, so this would give property owners more flexibility.
Correct.
Thank
And
you.
it's limited to areas that are platted subdivisions or site condominiums. So they're basically lots that have already been created previously.
Right, thank you.
I will just mention that this did come before the Planning Commission a few times. It's something that I think makes a lot of sense, and I wanted to thank the planning staff along with our legal advisors for coming up with an amendment that I think makes sense, and to thank Mr. Hudson for showing up a couple of times to advocate for this change.
Thanks. Anyone else? Great. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G6, consider approval to award the bid for LED lighting upgrades at the Village Theater.
Madam Supervisor, I move to award the bid and submit a purchase order to Mercury Sound Lighting for the purchase of LED lighting upgrades at the Village Theater for $365,015.66.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. On November 7th, 2024, a request for proposals was advertised for LED lighting upgrades at the Village Theater at Cherry Hill. As a result, 7 bids were submitted and reviewed by a Community Development Finance staff panel. The panel evaluated each company and scored them based on the elevation criteria provided in the RFP. Following responsible contracting, the panel recommends awarding the bid for LED lighting upgrades to Mercury Sound and Lighting in the total amount of $365,015.66, including a $20,000 contingency fee. Director Lefevre, do you want to add anything?
Just that we're really excited. This is something a long time coming that we've been looking to do at the theater. The last upgrade was done in 2013. That replaced a lot of the lighting there. We saw an immediate energy savings. And I know some of the background had described that we recovered the fees within 4 years of that through that energy study and that energy savings plan. So this would help finish out and replace all of the existing original fixtures and we would continue to see a return on that at the theater. So in response to the Youth Advisory Council's question, as far as how much would those lights be used, anytime the house at the Village Theater was utilized, was occupied, some of these lights, if not all, would be utilized. So anytime there's something on the main stage or anything related to the audience, these lights are utilized. These include spotlights, house lights, backstage lights, so quite often.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a great theater, so it's great to take care of it and save this energy. Any questions from the board? Actually, I'm sorry, the YAC team, you guys had a question, right, for this one?
About how much they're used.
Oh, did he answer it?
Asked and answered.
Okay, did you guys have anything else back there?
No, that's all we had. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on the board? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G7, consider authorization to purchase new cardio equipment.
Madam Supervisor, I move to amend the budget as listed and approve a 2025 purchase order to Direct Fitness Solutions for spin bikes at the Summit on the Park in the amount of $29,635.20.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Request for proposals were solicited in October 2024 for new cardio and strength equipment for the Summit on the Park Fitness Center. From this solicitation, Direct Fitness Solutions was the only vendor to offer stages equipment listed in the RFP. Leisure Services is recommending the 2025 purchase of 16 spin bikes from Direct Fitness Solutions for a total cost of $29,635.20, including trade-ins. Bikes will be ordered in 2024 to arrive early January for the New Year's resolution season. We need them. A budget amendment is necessary to move remaining funds from 24 to 25. Director Hohenberger, do you want to add anything?
No, happy to answer any questions.
Does our YAC team have any questions on this?
Well, we don't have a question, but we have a comment. We think that this is a very well planned, that the bikes will arrive in time for the New Year season.
I agree.
So do a lot of residents. Any questions from the board? After the first January board meeting, we're all going to ride the bikes, okay? Oh, I'm serious.
We can bring them over here and just have them get a ride during the.
We'll be absent that day. Cardio for me.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G8, consider request to approve the resident service advocate as a permanent merit position.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the resident service advocate as a permanent merit position.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brzezinski. Come on, here it comes. In February 2023, the Canton Board of Trustees approved the Merit Commission's recommendation to create the Resident Service Advocate. The position was approved for a 3-year period. The Resident Service Advocate was created as a professional position responsible for creating an internal service structure that improves communication and accountability between residents and Canton Township. The advocate is charged with ensuring the facilitation of timely and professional service to all Canton residents. The position plays an integral role in communicating the needs of residents to the township government and resolving many residents' concerns across township functions. With over a year of implementation and evaluation, the results of the resident service advocate position have been overwhelmingly positive. By implementing tracking software such as Indigov, the RSA reports on hundreds of contacts made with residents weekly and for various needs, communicates with homeowners associations regularly, and proactively educates the community. The advocate position has proven a major benefit to all departments of the township. To ensure a continuum of services, we request the board to consider approving the resident service advocate position as a permanent merit position. Director Lefevre, do you want to add to this?
Well, my name is on this, but I can take no credit, and I would defer to you as the board and to our deputy supervisor. But I would say I don't think anyone envisioned this position being as successful and fruitful as Emma has made it. So I think this is a vision realized and such a valuable asset to the township, and you've all seen it directly and personally. So I'll defer and happy to take any questions. But again, really, I'm sure the deputy supervisor could probably add much better than I could.
Joe?
Yeah, just briefly, I'll, I guess, add on to what John said. I think we really found the perfect person for this position, and Emma Kramer, with her background in criminal justice and victim advocacy. I think she really kind of got what the board wanted in this position in terms of internal advocacy, for service to residents. Because it's what she did as a victim advocate for 7 years in Washtenaw County. Made sure that crime victims' needs were being attended to as they move through the criminal justice system. And she's doing the same thing for our residents here in Canton, making sure all their needs are attended to. So I support the recommendation as well.
Thank you. Does our GAC committee have anything?
We just had a quick comment that we believe this will be very beneficial to the residents of Canton.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Tanya?
Yeah, I agree with whatever has been said till now by John and Joe. And I think this really makes our government a more responsive government, and we are not functioning in silos. And I've sat in meetings with Emma where she has showed us how she uses the IndiGov software and adding that. And she really is anywhere, any event that I have seen Emma at, she's a very cool-headed person, and she answers questions with a smile on her face and is always very responsive to our residents. And we have seen also the reports from the IndiGov and how many questions have been answered. So I think this really makes our government a very responsive government, and I'm looking forward to, Emma's working with us.
Thank you. Summer?
I echo everything that has been said. I think Emma has done an incredible job in this role. And setting that aside, I do think the creation of the role of someone to, number one, advocate for the residents, and number two, to make sure that issues were responded to in a timely manner, and that someone was responsible for closing the loop. Making sure that the loop was closed on those issues has been incredibly important to our community. And I think that we saw it in the trash, I hate to bring it up, but what happened with waste removal and how Emma was able to respond to that and residents' concerns, and making sure that HOAs were educated. And you've just done an incredible job. And I enjoy seeing the reports that come out of all of the things that you handle and how many residents' concerns come before you. And so I would say keep up the good work and look forward to seeing what you continue to do in this role.
Michael's going to speak for 4 minutes, he said.
Get the timer out.
In the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson said that governments derive their just powers from the
Wrong
consent
topic.
of the governed. And the first line, the first article, Article 1, Section 1 of the Michigan Constitution says that all political power is inherent in the people. And one of the things I hated about the Canton Township organizational chart when I took office in 2016 is that it started with the board, the supervisor, the clerk, and the treasurer all at the top. And now it has the residents at the top, if you look in the budget. And then it has the board, and then the full 3-time electeds, and then the administration from there, because it reflects the Michigan Constitution and the founding documents of this country, which is that all political power is inherent in the people. And it's hard sometimes because we get busy regulating things. We get busy making rules to protect the community, to make sure that development is safe and secure, to make sure that all of our little processes and procedures are executed the way we as bureaucrats want them to be executed. And what easily happens in that process is that the people get left out. And I'm grateful that we had the foresight to create a position that inverted that, to reflect the values of Canton that we don't always live up to, but that we strive to live up to. And not only do I think that the position has been a success, I also think we found the right person for that position. So I'm definitely a yes on this.
Start with Amara. We'll go this way.
I was scratching my head, but
Okay.
Emma, I don't know you that well. Full transparency, I'm new here, but every time I have spoken to you, I've noticed that you are very knowledgeable on whatever questions I do have, and I'm really looking forward for the opportunity to be able to connect with you and to learn more from you about what it means to serve our residents.
Kate?
Yeah, I am enthusiastically going to vote aye on this. And I agree with everything that's been said so far. And I'm kind of in a unique position up here because I am also on our HOA board. And so I see the emails that Emma sends to the HOAs and also see how she tries to help them. And sometimes she can't, but she tries very, very hard, and I think that is exceptional.
Thank you, Diane.
I want to echo what everybody has said. And I know we, the board, did want to have this position, available for our residents to close the loop. And we are so excited to have Emma on board for this. You are the right person, and I will be a yes.
And of course, we've all seen, so we utilize Indigov. For those of you who don't know, Indigov is a software that basically can track resident issues or HOA issues through the system. And we see the data from that also, and the response times that Emma has had to close issues, utilizing a lot of our, helping our employees out and helping the residents out and helping the HOAs out has, it's been just amazing. And we have the data behind it to show. So for those data people, we have great data that shows how this is working. Also, even just the mental health, when somebody comes in, obviously our employees just went through de-escalation training last week, I believe. So if somebody were to come in and they were upset, it helps the employees learn how to calm them down and get to what they need and help them. And what's great is Emma already had that experience, and I watched her do this in person, and that's really important. And also understanding that if somebody needs, sometimes somebody might come in and they might need some mental health, counseling with our social worker, and that has really helped also. So they have that, Emma and Kristen Farmer have that good connection to help residents that way. So if somebody not only just might need a development or to pay a bill, but if they actually need some help with their family, Emma knows how to usher them over there and help because of also her background and what we've been doing. So I think this is a great position. All right, thank you. So all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, so now let me go. Does anyone have, we will start in the room. Anyone have any public comments? Public comment is open. Anyone in the room, public comment? Please go to the podium. 3 minutes. Okay.
To graduate from Wayne State, you've got to take 2 classes, English proficiency and engineering economic analysis. When I took the class on analysis, I thought, man, what a killer. I could understand everything else. But I pay attention to what you guys say. Last meeting, you approved $70,000 to Wade Trim with no bid. I don't quite understand that. There's a million engineering companies out there. $70,000 is a lot of money. On a happy note, I paid my taxes today. People were very nice. When I asked them about them getting their cut bonus checks for the money you guys charge, I didn't see any smiles. That's a joke. Everybody have a nice night.
You too, thank you. Anyone else in the room? Anyone else in the room? Okay, also, we will take public comment online. If you want to raise your hand electronically, I can call on you for public comment. Any public comment online? Right, no public comment online. Okay, public comment is closed. Any administrative comment? Start back with our YAC team. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
No.
Would you like nothing? Okay, thank you. Patrick, you're right next. Do you have anything? No? You're like, thanks. John? You're all shaking your heads. I'm going to call on you. You have to say something. Wendy? Dave? Deputy Supervisor? Okay, we'll start now. So remember, this is our last meeting of the year. So Tanya?
Study session.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have stuff. This is the last regular board meeting of the year, correct? Tanya?
No, I really don't have anything, and since this is the last board meeting, not the last meeting, there is a study session next week. I just want to wish our residents a happy holidays, and hope you have a beautiful celebrations with your family and friends.
Thank you, Summer.
Happy last official board meeting of the year, even though there's a study session next week, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all of the things. I just hope everyone has a great end of the year and a great new year.
Michael?
Well, I tell you, over the weekend, went to Christmas in the Village, which was a fantastic event, put on by the partnership with the township and the Partnership for the Arts and Humanities, and it was great. And really grateful for I think is it Oak Park Church that had Santa and offered the photos with Santa at no charge, which I thought was really cool. And then on top of that, well, I won't steal any thunder about any parades that may have happened between the last meeting and this one, but a lot of cool holiday activities, and also grateful to the Leisure Services team and Community Development for doing the Letters to Santa program. It is fun to see the ballot drop box dressed up for the holidays, and I have two very young kids who are excited to get their reply from the big guy.
Amara, do you have anything?
Just happy holidays.
Thank you, Kate.
Yes, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, Happy Solstice. I don't know, I think I hit the major ones.
I forgot about the solstice.
Solstice.
Forget about the solstice.
And I also just wanted to mention that I think there's supposed to be snow tomorrow night, so everybody be careful driving and stay warm.
Diane?
Yeah, I want to wish everybody happy holidays as well, and I'm sure most of you will be able to spend some time with your family, so hopefully you're able to enjoy time with your family over this next month. So, happy holidays. Oh, and just so you know, the residents, we are closed December 24th, 25th, and December 31st, and January 1. The administration building is closed.
Thank you. And as Clerk Seeker said, there was a parade, and it was great. It was the first one in probably 20 years, I'd say. And it was held with the lighting of the park, Heritage Park, and that was great. I know Leisure Services and DPW and Public Safety and all of our teams volunteered. It was a very cold night, but Santa still came, and the fire engine. And all the kids, that was the best part, right? I mean, these kids were cold, but they didn't care. They were saying, "Where's Santa? Where's Santa?" And they stayed till the end when Santa came. So it was a lot of fun. And we probably had 200 people there. Yeah, more than 200.
That's great.
Yeah. So Pamela Osborne from Channel 4 kind of did the emceeing as everybody came, and Central City Dance danced, and we had the pom-pom girls, probably about 70 of them. So it was, where were they? They were the high school, right? Yep, so it was a really nice night. It was a good parade. But as everybody said, happy holidays, and we hope to see you soon. Any other board comments? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster and Treasurer Slavens. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Meeting ends. Thank you.